Hare Krishna. Omajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Hare Krishna. People try to fulfill their material desires, not knowing that no matter how much we fulfill our desires, they go on increasing only. They will never reduce. This is the reality of this world. We feel that I just have to fulfill the desires, and people are running. Every day, the morning wake up and they run for job, for colleges, and for making the house in a better way. Everybody is running, and somebody assists others running. So that's how the life goes for people. But they don't understand that it is not needed only because it does not work like that. They have to know that this is a very harsh reality. At the end of life, this is only increasing our thirst to enjoy more. If a person is very thirsty and is in a desert and he sees a mirage and he takes that hot sand and put in the mouth, he eats water, it will only increase his thirst. It will burn his mouth. So this is actually the reality. This is actually what is happening to people. They are actually living this world, dying, and again taking birth, again repeating the same cycle, again repeating. And but unfortunately, they don't understand. No need of all these things. No need to run so fast and crash landing. And Bhagavatam is quite simple. Sthane sthita stutikata dhanvan manave. And say how you maintain yourself. Yeah, we can maintain. Of course, we need to work a little bit, but no need to see. Working is one thing, but having material desires and always trying to fulfill them, that is the main problem. And that is how people are wasting their valuable human form of life. Like now, few things where Bhagavad Gita Krishna is very nicely telling. So in Sanskrit, philosophy is called darshan. That means this is the word which has a very deep meaning. Word darshan means to see. Like unless in the Greek the word is philosophy. Philosophy means it's a wisdom. But it does not mean something exactly. But when it comes to darshan, darshan means I had to see something. That means I had to precisely see a person. We have to see Supreme Lord at the end. That is the main meaning. Now, very important point is philosophy without practice is meaningless. This is just an attempt to enjoy with mental functionings. Philosophy is needed for us to practice it, and it is given in order so that in the end we change our consciousness. And Krishna promises, in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that you find a qualitative different nature. Our nature is full of suffering, ignorance, and we are doomed to death. And there are three things that are nicely linked. We are doomed to death because we are fully ignorant. And since we are doomed to death, we are full of ignorance like that. We cannot find the bliss we seek. Krishna says, if one practices Krishna consciousness throughout his life, then Krishna gives this guarantee. This is ignorance is cause of death. But we say emyam vapi smaram bhavam. Like whatever state of consciousness, bhava that we have practiced during our life. That's why Krishna consciousness bhavati means we have practiced whole life. That is the inner mood which we have, the consciousness that we try to gain during our life. No, we fully receive at the time of death. And that is why whole life when we are hearing Bhagavatam, which is going to save us. And after hearing Bhagavatam, we should not feel to run to catch up with something. We should feel satisfied. If I don't practice anything and hope that at the end life will be okay, somehow I'll manage, I'll chant Krishna. No. If we cannot remember when we are healthy, now body is cooperating, digestion is good, mind is good. Now only it is so difficult when we chant to remember Krishna. Then with very less troubles only to remember Krishna is very difficult. Then how can we remember Krishna at the time of death? The moment of death is very, very severe crisis in the life of any person. All people are afraid of death. All people do not know what is awaiting death. Death is the most terrible prospect that is going to come. People don't know. They prepare for so many things. This is the greatest surprise for Yudhishthir Maharaj. People are preparing for marriage. People are preparing for not knowing that they give the example of ostrich. When the dangerous moment come for the ostrich, it will dig the earth and put its head into it, or it closes the eyes, thinking that nothing is going to happen to. A man is doing, is preparing, but not knowing that array, death is in front of me. I am preparing for my man. Not that they should not prepare, but this is actually reality. Everything else may happen or may not happen, but death will definitely happen. And we need preparation for it. It should be it. Our life should become a path to be very conscious that Krishna is talking about, because it is our consciousness that uh, condemns either to life or death. So if I am having a consciousness of Krishna, then I will not have death. Otherwise, I have to die again. So our consciousness, either there are two different people with same conditions. One can be blissful, other can be tormented. Why? Because he has um, invented torment, because he has made built the mind like that. Right now, now there is one saying that just as after a well-lived day, a person had a good, easy, and calm sleep. After a well-lived life, a good and easy and calm death. This is the saying that comes to a person. This is very important. I'll tell a story for this. Means if you have lived very proper life, death is very calm. If the day is bad, our then while sleep also it is very difficult. We cannot use what is going to us correctly. There is one saint, Raghavendra. So this saint is from Madhva Sampradaya, a very famous, great saintly person, and he had performed many many miracles. And if he is in Catholic Church, they would already give him the saint title very easily. He's performed many miracles. So what happens is, one time he tells his disciples that, okay, I am going to go to Samadhi. You build a Samadhi over proper. Disciples said, how can we build, alive Samadhi? So then then they said, we did not take it so seriously. And they thought he might have forgotten. And one day he was sitting and giving class, and suddenly he got up, looked into side, and started folding his hands. And students also, they also got up. They also took, they didn't see anything. They also folded, and they saw a tulsi garland fell in his neck. And then he again sat and he continued classes. Then they asked, "What happened?" He said, "Showed you didn't see? Vyas Maharshi came and he showed me too." They asked, "What does it mean?" He said, "It means that I have to leave this body after 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days." And they calculated. They thought it is at least he will stay for 2 years, but 2 years is not very big, right? It is very small only. Now, very important. What happens is a person who is at the time of death. Now, what is the state of consciousness? I told this. One person was drowning, devotee. He was drowning in Ganges, and he remembered the advertisement of washing powder. Now we are seeing so many advertisements we saw already. Now we may not be seeing. And now also when you open YouTube, there is advertisements. All of them, they crash into our consciousness and are deposited in it. And if we do not do something or get rid of our consciousness of all these load of unnecessary things, all this will overwhelm us at the time of death. Our consciousness does not obey, especially the mind does not obey. And in the moments that are in a way connected with anything, it does not obey when the health is not in good state. Even health is good, only our mind is not obeying. What to speak of when health is not controlled? Mind does not accept. Someone can say, "Oh, I am sitting in lecture," and suddenly we start thinking so many things. So now here, uh, we will this Acharya, no, Raghavendra Swami, he is preparing. He is actually teaching. This is a very important thing. How we should learn. It is impossible to deceive anybody at the time of death. I can deceive as a devotee whole life, but at the time of death, that is what is proved. Prabhupada is to tell this. Now you may think about Krishna. Someone can say that, oh, he thinks of Krishna. I am sitting in a lecture. Suddenly, I'm. It may not happen. People are uh, uh, people are thinking of so many things. Now, like one person was very stingy person. He was big miserly person, and when he was about to die, all the people came. Somebody was little lamenting, somebody was just looking at him, and people thought of different things. And then he was showing so much anxiety, and then they asked, "Arey, what happened?" No, he said he's approaching and you want to tell something. And everybody thought, oh, he must be telling something very important, last part of his life. Then he said, in the lamp, na, put little less oil, and he died. So this is what comes at the time of death. Whatever we live, na, he's stingy till end of life. Is like that only. And now Srimad Bhagavatam, it is written in response to the questions of a person who is at the verge of death. Maharaj Parikshit asked a question to Sukadeva Goswami: what should a dying person do? That means what? This question is applicable to us also. This is what should a dying person do? Means it is for us also. We are also going to die. That means all the questions are relevant to us. And what should a person on the verge? But it literally translated from Sanskrit. The question asked by Parikshit is, what should a person who dies to do? That means there is nobody who is not there. So here, Raghavendra Swami, what happens to him is he then the days passed and the final day came. 2 years, 2 months, 2 days. And in the morning he woke up, he was quite very blissful, normal. He performed worship to the deities of Lord Ram, which are considered to be the uh, very special deities. And then he told, uh, then one of his disciple who was working for, I think, Mughals or something, he is very rich. He said, I will construct a samadhi for you. And then he, he said, Raghunsam said, no, no. He took them inside some forest and showed some stone. He said, with this stone, you make the slabs and make my samadhis. That's what is this. This is the stone Lord Ram sat when he was in search for Mother Sita and wandering in the forest. They said, okay. And then they started making. In the morning, he woke up, he did the worship of the Lord, and he gave all the charnam, distributed personally prasadam to all of them. And he sat in meditation inside the construct. And they started constructing, and everybody was sobbing. And he gave very powerful instructions, the last final instructions. So, and everybody eagerly heard it. And then what happens is then his they put some salagrams in the top, and then they were about to close the last brick, and somebody fainted, somebody was crying, and then they closed the samadhi. And one disciple, he forgot the date. He was other side of Kaveri, Tungabhadra river. And then suddenly remembered, right, today is the date. And he It was very rainy season. Tungabhadra is very flowing, but he somehow jumped and he swam across and he came. And when he came and he started reciting, there is a Stuti for Raghavendra Swami and he was some very special prayers he was telling. And he came by the time it is closed. So he was so unhappy and everybody was crying. And he started reciting, but he forgot the last few lines. And he just stood there. He is not able to remember. But from Samadhi, Raghavendra Swami, he spoke. And he completed the stanza. Then everybody was little pacified. Yes, Guruji is there in the Samadhi. He said, I'll stay here for 700 years. And even now also many people get his darshan, they talk to him. One time what happened, British government, they decided that all the government land should be taken by the government and they will pay the money for the to the temples. So they came to this temple. They said, "We'll take the land and then we'll give you money regularly. You cannot have land." Then they said, "Okay, but our main in charge is here. You can go inside, talk to him." So the Britishers goes inside and then they come. He said, "Okay, okay." We talked to him, and now we are not going to take anything from the temple. He said, "Whom did you talk?" Yeah, we talked. That Raghavendra Swami, I talked. Then they said, actually, he went to Samadhi 100 years back. How can you talk to him? He said, no, I saw him. I talked to him. So like that, he performed many times such pastime. He said that as such, the miracles are not needed to understand Lord. But because some people, they're not so uh, understandable, they need some miracles. That's why Lord made me perform some miracles to help some people who cannot come to the stage. The point here is that he is showing that he was completely unaffected to prove that this is actually what is the reality. Our body are completely a person who has lived a very pure life. He is he will not have any problem when he is living his body. This is most important. So Parikshit Maharaj, he was hungry, but he could spend whole day in the forest and this is another very important. So what happens is Parikshit Maharaj, he was very hungry. He goes to the forest and he meets a sage who was meditating. He was immersed in meditation, and he asked him, "Give me some water to drink." But Shet did not answer anything. And as a result, Parikshit Maharaj put a snake and he was cursed too. Now, this is a very important lesson from this one, extra lesson. So, what happens is, what we do, whole life we are also hunting for some uh, animals, means not animals, but so many other things people are hunting man for woman, woman for man, and some material facilities and all. And suddenly we become hungry and thirsty, and then it is intolerable. Then we go to satisfy our further desires because it is not getting satisfied only. And we go to a saintly person to fulfill our desires, which are anyway not going to be. But the stronger the thirst, and then when they come to that means similarly, people also engage in some spiritual practices. They go to temple, they practice something, and then they also and they also what do you say do all these things and people go they start chanting Hare Krishna also. And they but instead of chanting Hare Krishna they also chant another mantra, secret mantras of getting some money or whatever. Now what happens is when they go to saintly people na, they don't respond, they say, they keep silent. Arey, what question is asking? It's supposed to ask about spiritual uh, welfare, and but he is asking. Saints say, no, no, no. This is not the question we should ask a saintly person. And then what happens? We get offended. And because the result is we are cursed to death. And that's what happens to everyone. And that's why sages and saintly people are silent. So this is, of course, it is Parikshit Maharaj is not in that such category, but we can relate to ourselves. Now, this Raghavendra Swami story happened in 1675, not very far. And of course, they say is incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj, and he was. This is not some very. Even now, also people take the get his darshan. He said still 700 is there. Sometimes if you go, you can also maybe you can also get darshan of Raghavendra Swami. Some important points from the purport of Prabhupada also we'll see. So here the questions of Parikshit Maharaj, which are very important questions, just a revision of the questions we'll do. Because these are very important questions. Yeah. So question starts from verse 7. We learn Brahmana, the transcendental spirit soul different from material body, right? Does he acquire the body accidentally or by some cause? And will you kindly explain this for it? No, it is known to you. So why we are getting this body? That is the first question. Second question: if Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whose abdomen the lotus stem sprouted, it possessed of a gigantic body according to his own caliber and measurement, then what is the specific difference between the body of Lord and those of a common living entity? So body is of Lord, if matter comes from matter, but how from Supreme Lord who is spirit, matter is how is matter is coming. That is the question. And Brahma, who was born of a material source, but of the lotus flower, coming out of the navel of the abdomen of Lord, is the creator of all those who are materially born. Of course, by the grace of Lord, Brahma was able to see the form of Lord. And then next question is, please also explain the personality of Godhead, who lies in every heart as a super soul, and who is the Lord of all energies, but is untouched by the external. Is living in matter, how he is not touched by the matter. And then he says, O Lord Brahmana, it is formally explained that all the planets of the universe with their respective governors are situated in different parts of the gigantic body of the Virat Purusha. I have also heard that the different planetary systems themselves consist the gigantic body of Virat Purusha. So, but what is their actual position? Will you please? So, you wanted to know about how the planets of the universe are governed by the Virata and how they are part of his body. And then another question he asked, also please explain the duration of time between creation and annihilation, and duration of other subsidiary creations as well as the nature of time indicated by the word past, present, future. He explains the duration and measurement of life of the different living beings known as demigods, human beings, etc. So you wanted to know this. Then we have seen yesterday, purest of Brahmanas, please also explain the cause of different durations of time, both short and long, as the beginning of time following the course of action. Very important. She is asking about living entity's body, is asking about Supreme Lord, is asking about nature, material nature, and then he's asking important aspect, that is time, because without time nothing was. First Lord invested. Time is the factor. Follows the Lord manifested. Important manifestation of Lord in this world is time. You want to know about the time. That's the reason. And that's again kindly describe how the proportionate culmination of reactions resulting from the different modes of mental nature act upon the desiring living beings, promoting to degrade it or promoting or degrading it among the different species of life, beginning from demigods down to the most insignificant creatures. So this is another question is asking. We wanted to know exactly about how this functioning of modes of mental nature are working and how these are manifested. And then yesterday we discussed this sloka. O best of the Brahmanas, please also describe how the creation of globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the skies, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and islands, as well as the different kinds of inhabitant takes place. This is one of the very interesting verse we have seen. How it is based on, of the previous verse also, it is not just based on by any material qualification. We have to make ourselves consciousness should be qualified to reach to different planets and based on our qualifications. So it is the reason is that the Americans do not wish to share their prosperity with any foreigners who have not qualified themselves to become citizen. Similarly, the higher planet living conditions are all in mode of goodness, and anyone desiring to enter the higher planets like the Moon, Sun, and Venus must qualify thoroughly by activity in complete goodness. So that is the point. Now today we'll start this 16th verse. परमाणुम् अण्डकोशस्य भात्याभ्यन्तरभेदतः महतां चानुचरितं वर्णाश्रमविनिश्चयः. It says, also please describe the inner and outer space of the universe by specific divisions, as well as the character and activities of the great souls, and also the characteristics of different classification of caste and orders of social life. He is asking from the creation of universe to the down to earth the social orders. Now, very important understanding is what type of question we are asking proves what is my thought process. If I am always thinking about the spiritual subject matters, my questions will be like that only. If I am thinking about worldly matters, then anybody comes, my discussion and topics and all will be worldly things only. Oh, what about this? What about that? What about the politics? Whatever sports? This is actually mode of passion. Because we are affected by passion, we get taste in politics, sports, or worldly affairs, knowing about the neighbors or relatives, and any when we are calling and talking, what type of discussion you are getting is proving what is my taste of this world. If I am in passion, my taste and discussions will be this only. They will discuss about all these. If I am in goodness, my taste will be different. Of course, even Ayurveda, astrology, and all this dharma, all this is in mode of passion and little bit of goodness. We want to come out of these things. We need to develop a taste. When we are sitting and talking, that is why we need to have association of devotees who are very serious. Because anytime you call them, you will not get any other questions other than spiritual subject matters. In that way, we are very safe. If I get a call, I know this call will not waste my time. Why? Because the discussion matter will be Krishna. So in that way, we can save ourselves. Any call I get, it should be either discussion related to Krishna, anything related to service to Krishna. If I get a call, like say yesterday I got 3 calls. So one call was there was questions on about uh, uh, about what is spiritual world, how it connected to material world. Another call came. It was about it was also some spiritual question only. And third call came. It was about can you conduct a program at our place. Another call came. Can you come for our function? So now whatever calls come, I know this will not waste my time. 2, 3 calls came. They are all related to service. So in that way we can protect ourselves. Being always with devotees, we will not have any pressure. But there's a taste. Even though I have taste for material things, but I don't have option because nobody is there to discuss with me material things. So slowly that goes background. We'll be protected. That is, then the questions will always come that only. And if I am having friends devotees, my questions will be connected to, Arey, what was the program and how did you do when you are going for yatra, which Maharaj lecture you heard. This is only, this was a nice kirtan, we had this festival. So this will be our discussions. Here Parikshit Maharaj's questions proves what is the state of consciousness. He is able to ask that quality questions also. Otherwise, the question's quality will also matter because our discussion. Array, I am not able to ask such questions because we are not contemplating only. Na? I never got this question. You know, the characters of different classifications of caste, orders, and life. We never know that we have to think in that direction. So that is the point. And Prabhupada is writing very nice purport. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical devotee of Krishna, and as such, he is anxious to know the complete significance of the creation of Lord. He wants to know the inner and outer space of the universal form. It is quite fitting for the real searcher of knowledge to know all this about. Those who are of the opinion that the devotees of Lord are satisfied with mere sentiments can find in the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit good lessons of how inquisitive a pure devotee is to know things in their true perfection. The modern scientists are unable to know about the inner space of the universal horizon and what to speak of which covers the universe. So this is that's why his inquiries are also of that high quality. He want to really know about Lord. We should also be eager like that. And we may not have eagerness. No problem. Whatever Maharaj Parish has, that much we'll hear. Maharaj Parish is not satisfied with only material knowledge. He is inquisitive about the character and activities of great souls, the devotees of the Lord, the glories of the Lord, and glories of his devotees. Combined together, comprise the complete knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam has the glories of Lord, his devotees. Both are there. Lord Krishna showed his mother the complete universal creation within his mouth, and she completely charmed by her son. Wanted to look inside the mouth of the Lord just to see how much earth the child has eaten. By the grace of Lord, devotees are able to see everything in the universe within the mouth of so Prabhupada is saying that how we can understand in this way, and this is a proper way to understand. We have to see everything in relation with the Lord. Then it becomes easy. We can connect to everything, and even if we cannot understand everything, also if we understand it is all connected to Lord, that itself is a proper realization. That's all. We may not understand creation fully, but what we should understand the end, it is all connected to Lord, it is coming from Lord. And what happens by that? We develop that feeling. See, without gratitude, now there is no love only, and we need to feel that gratitude. That should be our sadhana, to develop that gratitude, that feelings for the Lord. And anything, oh, creation by the Lord, he only gave this. Our heart don't touch only. I take so much air every day, I take so much water, I take so much sunlight, I take so much food, but my heart is not melting, or I am taking so much from a person. If a person, like normally, some normal times, say you are standing in a big line in a hot sun, and there is a big line for prasadam. Suddenly somebody comes and says, Roji, I took plate of prasadam, but I may not eat now. You take it. And then instead of standing for 1 hour in a line, you just have got a plate of prasadam. You immediately feel very grateful. Oh, thank you very much. Now, but we are doing it from not every time we take, but we take it for granted. I am taking air, I am taking water, I am taking so many things. My heart is not melting only with gratitude for Lord, not able to develop that love. And I see that why? Because we don't see the connection. When I see the connection that it is all from Lord, our heart melts, we develop that gratitude, we develop love. That is what happens. Now, Prabhupada writes, the very idea of scientific division of 4 classes of human society and 4 orders of life is also inquired about herewith on the basis of individual personal quality. The 4 divisions are exactly like the 4 divisions of one's personal body. Part and parcel of body are non-different from the body, but by themselves they are only parts. That is the significance of whole scientific system of 4 castes and 4 spiritual orders. The value of such scientific divisions of human society can be ascertained only in terms of the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord. Any person employed in government service, including the president, is a part and parcel of the entire government. Everyone in a government service, but no one is the government himself. That is the position of all living entities in the government of the Supreme Lord. No one can artificially claim the supreme position of Lord. but everyone is meant to serve the purpose of the Supreme Lord. And nice slogan. युगानि युगमानं च धर्मो यश्चायुगे युगे अवतारानुचरितं यद् आश्चर्यतमं हरिः हरे. Please explain all different ages and duration of creation, all the duration of all such ages. Also tell me about the different activities of different incarnations of Lord in different ages. He don't want to leave everything. He want to know everything about Lord in terms of creations, different ages, the duration of ages, and activities of Lord. And Prabhupada writes that Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all the incarnation of Supreme Lord, although not different from him, are emanations from the Supreme. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the great and learned, say Sukadeva Goswami, about the different activities of such incarnations, so that the incarnations of Lord may be confirmed by his activities in the authoritative scriptures. Maharaj Parikshit was not to be carried away by the sentiments of common man to accept an incarnation of Lord very cheaply. Instead, he wished to accept the incarnation of Lord by sumptuous mentioned in the Vedic literature. Sorry, symptoms mentioned in the Vedic literature and confirmed by the an Acharya like Sukadeva Goswami. Proper, right? Thus, to hear the activities of Lord means to associate with the Lord directly, and associate with Lord directly means purification from material contamination. We have already discussed. And next sloka says, Nirnam sadharano dharma स्वशेषश्च यादृशः सेनानां राजसीनां च धर्मकृतेषु जीवता. It says, please also explain what may generally be the common religious affiliation of human beings, as well as their specific occupational duties in religion, the classification of social orders, including the administrative royal orders and religious principles for one who may be in distress. So now is coming some practical questions. He has asked some information. Now he is want something practical. Proposition: the common religion of all class of human beings, regardless of whosoever and whatsoever one may be, is devotional service. Even the animals may be included in devotional service to Lord, and the best example is set by Sri Bajrangji or Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord. As we have already discussed, even the aborigines and cannibals can also be engaged in devotional service of the Lord if they happen to be under the guidance of genuine devotee of the Lord. In the Skanda Puran, there is a narration that a hunter in the jungle became the most enlightened devotee of Lord by guidance of Narada Muni. Therefore, devotional service to Lord can be equally shared by every living being. Now, another important thing. This is very nice. Religious affiliation in terms of different countries and cultural circumstances is obvious, not the common religion of the human being, rather the basic principle of devotional service. This is the point. Devotional service, it is practiced in a different way, but that is also devotion. Like if you go to Greece, there are some brahmacharis there. Brahmachari is not ISKCON. They are from Greece only. They practice Christianity. They follow strict celibacy. No woman enters in that area. They don't have electricity. They very rigorously practicing. They have some. They may not know the form of Lord, but they know that they have to pray, and they will be elevated. That is also their heart is touched by whatever Lord is giving to them. They will have so much spiritual advancement. Even if a particular type of religion principle does not recognize the supreme personality of Godhead, the followers still have to obey the disciplinary principles laid down by a particular leader. Such a leader of religious sect is never the supreme leader, because such a circumstantial leader comes to the position of leadership after undergoing some penance. Now, the supreme personality of God does not, however, require to be under disciplined action to become leader. So Krishna is always Krishna. This one is Varnashrama Acharut Purushena Pamam. The occupational duty of caste and order of society following the principle livelihood also depend on the principles of devotional service. So, Prabhupada, as will be explained in this book of great authority, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, there is no religion save and except devotional service of Lord, though this may be presented in different forms. Now he's asking where Tatvanam Parishankyana Lakshanam Hetu Lakshanam Purusharadhana Vidur Yogesha Adhyatmikasya cha. This is kindly explain about all the elementary principles of creation. The number of such elementary principles, their cause and their development, and also the process of devotional service and the method of mystic powers. So you want to know about creation and you want to know how to get out of creation. That's why you want to know the process. Yogeshwara Ishwarya Gatir Linga Bangastu Yoginam Vedopaveda Dharmanam Itihasa Puranayo. This is what are the opulences of the great mystics? What is their ultimate realization? Now the answers now they will go till 12th canto. So not a problem. Previously answers were just in 1 2 chapters. But these answers will go till end. How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and the supplementary Puranas? The Yogeshwara, or the master of the mystic powers, can exhibit 8 kinds of powers. This is there in the 11th canto, more detail. Now, this answer will come in 11th canto. Prabhupada is giving little bit for us here. So, there are 8 kinds of, can exhibit 8 kinds of wonders of perfection by becoming smaller than the atom or lighter than a feather, getting anything and everything he desires, going anywhere and everywhere he likes, creating even a planet in the sky. These are There are many Yogeshwaras having different perfections. Sorry, proficiencies in their wonderful powers, and the topmost all of them is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the greatest yogi and he can perform such wonderful things far beyond the ordinary living. The devotee of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of God, do not directly practice the process of mystic powers, but by the grace of Lord, his devotees can defeat even the greatest Yogeshwara like Durvas Muni, who picked a quarrel with Ambarish Maharaj and wanted to show the wonderful achievements of his mystic power. But this story we know. And then the next sloka says Samplava Sarva Bhutana Vikarma Pratishankramaha Ishtapurtasya Kamaya Kamyana Sri Vargasya Cha Yayo Vidu. Please explain upon me how the living beings are generated, how they are maintained, how they are annihilated. Also tell me what is advantages and what is disadvantages for discharging devotional service unto the Lord. What are the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the supplementary Vedic rites? And what are the processes of religion, economic development, and sense gratification? The word samplavaha in the sense of perfect means is employed to denote the discharging of devotional service, and pratikshanam prati, sorry pratishankramaha means just the opposite, or that which destroys the progress of devotional service. One who is firmly situated in devotional service of Lord can very easily execute the functions of the conditioned life. This is the point. One who is firmly situated in devotional service of Lord can very easily execute the functions of conditional life. Not a problem for him. Living the conditioned life is just like playing a boat in the middle of ocean. One is completely at the mercy of ocean, and at every moment there is every chance of being drowned in the ocean by slight agitation. Now we see, like, I saw some small video of some of this Israel. They are attacking Gaza Strip. That is a war that is happening. I saw that they are having some one photo I saw in that small. There are nice houses with independent houses, nice gardens, and they are bombarded. I was thinking the people who are there in that houses, they must be really quite satisfied because they have their own house and they have nice gardens. And one fine day, bomb comes, everything is destroyed. This is actually the condition life. They are living. The condition life is just like playing a boat in the middle of ocean. One is completely at the mercy of ocean, and at it, every moment there is every chance of being drowned in the ocean in slight agitation. If the atmosphere of all right, the boat can play very easily, undoubtedly. But if there is some strong fog, wind, or cloud, there is every possibility of being drowned in the ocean. No one can control the whims of the ocean. However, one may be materially very well equipped. I was thinking how they must be very comfortable people, but they never expected one fine day they, they are lost. Like one in the status somebody kept this all I get from status. One woman, she lost all her 12 members in the family. That is the status. In the war, they killed all the people, and one woman she lost. Now it is so painful. No? You lost everybody in the house. So one who it is so difficult for some people to live for the rest of the life. They never expected that. I am there with all my people, and one fine day they are not there. So one who has crossed the ocean by ship may have sufficient experience of dependence upon the mercy of this Prabhupada has this experience. But one can play over the ocean of material existence by the grace of Lord very easily, without any fear of storm or fog. It all depends on the will of the Lord. No one can help if there is some unfortunate danger in the state of conditioned life. The devotees of Lord, however, cross the ocean of material existence without anxiety because a pure devotee is always protected by the Lord. The Lord gives special attention to his devotees in their activities within material conditioned life. Therefore, everyone should take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord and be a pure devotee of Lord by all means. And Prabhupada, it's a nice point. One should know, therefore, from the expert spiritual master the advantages and disadvantages conditions for discharging devotional service, just as Maharaj Parikshit asked his spiritual master. This is what we should do. Prabhupada says one should also not accumulate money to become puffed up in material world. One should earn his livelihood easily and honestly. For it is better to become a coolie for an honest livelihood than to become a great man in society by hook or crook. Why? Because it creates, you will be entangled in this metal world. The coolie, because he honestly lived, at the end of life, he can die a peaceful death and he can elevate himself. But this person who earned by hook or crook, he may be very luxuriously living now, but at the end of life, he will be very much degraded. He get a animal body. There is no harm if one becomes the richest man in the world by honest dealings. But one should not sacrifice the honest means of livelihood simply to accumulate wealth. Very important understanding. People they are thinking, oh, we'll make so much money, and people cheat. All these builders, all these business people, they so much cheat to make their money, but they don't understand that it is so much dangerous for them at the end of life. Such an endeavor is harmful to devotional service. One should not talk nonsense. A devotee's business is to earn the favor of the Lord. Therefore, a devotee should always glorify the Lord in his wonderful creations. A devotee should not be a devotee should not decree the creations of Lord, defining him defying him by saying that he has created a false world. This is another problem. The world is not false. Actually, we have to take so many things from the world for our maintenance. So, how can we say that the world is false? We are using so much. Similarly, how can one think of the Lord as being without form? How can one become formless and at the same time have all intelligence and consciousness, direct and direct? So, there are many things for a pure devotee to learn, and we should learn them perfectly from a bona fide person like Sukadeva Goswami. Prabhupada writes, a favorable condition for discharge of devotional service are that one should be very enthusiastic in serving the Lord. The Lord, in his form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wanted the cult of devotional service to spread to be prepared all over. So now Prabhupada is giving us all instructions. He says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the cult of devotional service to the Lord to be preached all over the world in every nook and corner, and therefore a pure devotee's duty is to discharge this order as well as possible. Every devotee should be very enthusiastic not only in performing his daily rituals of devotional service, but in trying to preach the cult peacefully by following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. If he is not superficially successful in such an attempt, he should not be deterred from the discharge of his duty. No, very nice point. Listen. Success or failure has no meaning for a pure devotee because he is soldier in the field. Preaching the cult of devotional service is something like declaring war against materialistic life. There are different kinds of materialists, such as fruit workers, the mental speculators, the mystic jugglers, and so many. All of them are against the existence of God. They would declare that they are themselves God, although in every step and in every action they are dependent on the mercy of Lord. Therefore, a pure devotee may not associate with such gangs of atheists. A strong devotee of Lord will not be misled by such atheistic propaganda of non-devotees, but a neophyte devotee should be very cautious about them. A devotee should see to the right discharge of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master and should not stick only to the formalities. Nice point, Prabhupada says. Under the direction of bona fide spiritual master, one should see how such service is being executed, not simply in the matter of the rituals. We have to not just rituals, you have to learn the art of properly doing it. A devotee should not hanker after anything. He should be satisfied with things that may automatically come to him by the will of Lord. That should be the principle of devotional service. We should not go and keep on asking the Lord. And all these principles are easily learned under the guidance of spiritual master. We have nine. Prabhupada, similar, the process of fulfilling the natural desires for sense gratification are also inquired about by the king for the benefit of all concerned. He's not just, and he's also asking about other Puranas and all. We'll take one more shlok. योवानुसायिनां सर्ग पाषण्डस्य च सम्भवः आत्मनो बन्धमोक्षे मोक्षौ च व्यवस्थानं swarupatah. He says that please also explain how merged in the body of living Lord, living being are created and how the infields appear in the world. Also, please explain how the unconditioned living entities exist. That means about the spiritual living entities. The progress of devotee of Lord must the progressive devotee of the Lord must inquire from the bona fide spiritual master how living entities merge in the body of Lord, again come back at the time of creation. These are two kinds of living entities. There are the every liberated unconditional living being as well as ever conditioned living being. We are conditioned, spiritual world, and unconditioned. Of the ever conditioned living beings, there are two divisions. They are faithful and infilled. So we come under the category of faithful people. Of the faithful, there are again two divisions, namely devotees and mental speculators. So we come under devotee category. The mental speculator desire to merge into the existence of Lord or to become one with the Lord. Whereas the devotees of Lord desire to keep separate identity and constantly engage in the service of Lord. So and maybe one more will do. यतात्मतन्त्रो भगवान् विक्रीड्यतात्ममायया विसृज्य वायता मायाम् उदासीत् साक्ष्य विभु. This is the independent personality of God and enjoys his pastimes by his internal potency at the time of annihilation. Again, so annihilation gives them up by the external potency and he remains witness to all. So now he is asking about annihilation. Lord Sri Krishna, being the supreme personality of God, is the fountainhead of all other incarnations, is only independent person. He enjoys his pastimes by creation as he desires and gives up to the external energy at the time of annihilation. By his internal potency only, he kills the demon Putana, even though enjoying his pastimes in the lap of Mother Yashoda. And when he desires to leave this world, he creates the pastimes of killing his own family members, Yadukula, and remains unaffected by such annihilation. He is the witness of everything that is happening. He is not having to do anything. He is independent in every aspect. Maharaj Parikshit desired to know more perfectly from a pure devotee how to know well. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.